Hi everyone. So for today's video, this popped up, the link to this popped up in my Twitter feed, and then I clicked on it and shared it, and it actually got a really strong reaction from people, although they did remind me this actually came out 2 years ago. But that actually connects to some of the other videos I've done. I know Captain Cummings basically identifies when the SJW trend became toxic in comic about 2 years ago. And I definitely remember this as sticking out as being very strange. So this is an article I found on Epic Stream titled Practical Superhero Costume Redesigns for Women. So I think I could do an entire video just on the things from the title. But anyway, so practical superhero. This is already just a red flag of someone who doesn't really read comics, doesn't like them, and wants them to be something else. I haven't done a video on the Iron Fist controversy basically because it's already over. But one of the things I noticed about when SJWs want changes is they don't want changes. They literally want a different character. They want something else. So it comes from a bad place to start with. So one question that just pops into my mind is, are male superhero costumes practical? Well, except for a couple kind of like military style heroes like Grifter, I would say they're fanciful for the most part and practical in some aspects. And then also, if you were going to do practical redesigns, why would you not do them for everyone? Why would you not do them for women? And what I found is some really, really strange and conflicting politics in this. I actually took a bunch of screenshots to insert them like professionally, but I think I'll just hold it right here. So this guy he's not a comic artist. He just kind of went viral for doing these redesigns. He says, I love comics and superheroes as much as the next nerd. I'm not so sure about that. But the women's costumes, sweet mother of Moses, the costumes, at the very least, highly impractical. So again, we're getting to this gendered thing implying that the male costumes are practical. And at worst, incredibly sexist. I mean, extremely so. So usually a claim like that will have some proof, but he just repeats his own claim twice. Honestly, I don't know why women haven't been a lot more angry and vocal about this kind of thing over the years. It's very interesting because this is another constant of SJWs, is they basically do what I'll call problem stealing. And problem creating. He just admitted that basically this is not a problem. And he's really bothered that women are not offended by this, which when someone's not offended, that you should be happy. So the illegitimacy of this whole SJW movement it's very easy to point out and pick apart. This is where it gets crazy and borderline offensive. I don't know why women haven't been a lot more angry and vocal about this. Like Ferguson riot angry. I'm not going to get into Ferguson riot, but we're talking about people being killed. No matter how you see that event, we're talking about people being killed. So come on, dial it down all the notches. Don't get me wrong. I believe that expressing one's sexuality is a natural, healthy thing. We're going to see that he actually doesn't think that. And certainly not something to be censured or shamed. We're definitely not going to see that. But Holly, I think he meant holy, hammer of Thor, there's a time and a place for everything. So what time, I mean, as far as I can tell, the time and the place for the colorful costumes is like 1939 until today. So we're going to scroll these up, and I hope these are as legible. Now, you're probably going to say, oh, there's something wrong with the color. It's so dingy, but you can see this is bright red, and it's coming through right there. This is a very dark red, a dark muted colors, and we're going to see this in every single one. So the guy gets in kind of like some detail explaining things, but it's kind of hard to read, and it just kind of rambles on. Basically, it comes down to he doesn't really know any of these characters. They're kind of like that generic superhero you see on the sides of a plumber's van. Like, he doesn't know anything about Wonder Woman except for maybe her vague powers and that her name is Wonder Woman. So she's got a lasso, she's got a dark Wonder Woman thing. I don't know why she has to be dressed like a ninja from The Hand. I mean, she's a magical super warrior made out of clay. So, and then we get, he doesn't even know that. So he says, oh, look, Superman is bulletproof. And he gets a skin suit with plenty of skin coverage. Doesn't mean anything. Well, since most superwomen can still get stabbed, shot, or just plain freeze their asses off, how about a little protection, eh? Again, he's not seeing her as Princess Diana. She's not Wonder Woman. She's literally generic superhero. And you're going to see that, except for a couple things with each design, they're basically interchangeable. So here is Jeez, this is Supergirl. And if it looks almost exactly like the Wonder Woman, again, that's what it is. So again, so there's a lot of things where these accusations, when they try to white knight, it actually shows how they think. Listen how he talks about Supergirl. Flesh. It's just a creepy way to say it. Say skin. And since you likely wouldn't approve of your teenage daughter dressing like a stripper in a cheerleader costume, teenagers dress in cheerleaders' costumes all the time. It's called being a cheerleader. It's not some weird stripper thing. Young Kara Zor-El probably shouldn't either. I guarantee he had to Wikipedia her name. Superman is virtually indestructible, and even he sports more modest duds. This is beyond modest. This is like, I don't know, like some weird religious cult. Like, you can be a superhero but no bright colors because that's Satan. I don't even know where he's getting from this. And of course, she can't have a cape because it's not realistic, even though she's Superman level. So if anyone tried to grab her cape, it would just rip off. Now, Elektra one is, I mean, geez, it looks so dark, but that's pretty much how it looks to me. So again, her hair has to be kept short, so they all kind of end up looking very similar to each other. She has to have dark colors because she's not a special ninja. She has to be average ninja. This looks like a trainee in the hand. So again, this is a guy who doesn't. One of the things when you say it's like, it's very interesting because obviously he spent a lot of time on these designs. They're good designs for something else entirely, but why would you spend this much time doing designs for characters you clearly know almost nothing about and have no real interest in? So now we're in Black Canary, and again, she also has to have short hair. She also has to hide her face, and a classic trope of her costume, the fishnets, has to be completely done away with. Now he does have this kind of like cross section on her thighs. So he says, those classic fishnet stockings. Note the word classic, that's what they are. Many a fanboy would call blasphemy. Again, this is weird gender politicking, war of the sexist stuff that doesn't really exist in comics because, still comics are mainly just a male hobby. But come on, guys, sexy though they may be, practical they most definitely are not. Not to mention inexcusably sexist. Like, seriously, again, repeating your claim twice does not prove it. If fishnets are sexist, then apparently all the women who wear them are sexist against women. That doesn't make sense. The accusation cannot be the proof. So here's Miss Marvel, who, again, has basically the same hairdo as the other one. He seems to only know the name. So this is not just Wikipedia Ranger. This is like a lazy one. Like, he's not even going down into the article. He's just reading at the top where he finds out what their name is. So, so it's exactly the same as the other ones. Almost, but he does this thing, forensics. For the longest time, if you wanted to learn a superhero's secret identity, you had to physically unmask them. So he says, they need to have gloves. So, God, everything has to be covered, including their hands. Okay, so Vampirella this is the one that just shouts to me that you have no interest in this character and you don't want to redesign her. You just want a completely different character. Now, this guy loses all credibility as a man and almost as a human being by starting his explanation by typing the word sigh. It doesn't get worse than that. So he says, sigh, where to start. Vampire was created in the 60s, heavily influenced by the campy science fiction, sexploitation style like Barbarella. So yeah, that's literally 90% of her appeal, is that she wears a skimpy costume. Getting rid of it is like, I don't know, like clipping the ears off of Mickey Mouse. And here's Red Sonja. Red Sonja, who's known as a really busty, voluptuous, beautiful woman, becomes a generic background character from Lord of the Rings. Power Girl loses her... Why does Power Girl have to have short hair? Everyone has to have short hair. And she has to have a totally generic, looks like a spacesuit from some generic sci-fi film. She can't have a cape. She can't have the boob window, which is classic because like, apparently, I don't know, being sexy is sexist. And then he gets into this weird thing where she has to have support or she'll have tissue damage. Like, it's way too graphic. Zatanna is just a one-issue Buffy the Vampire Slayer villain. Zatanna actually, what is his problem with Zatanna? That she has fishnets? She basically dresses like an old-school magician, so it totally makes sense. It even says this design bears no resemblance whatsoever to the original Zatanna. He says most superhero women look the same. Nobody looks like Zatanna. She's got a top hat, and she dresses like an old-style magician. I can't even think of a male superhero who looks like that. So this one's been going around for a while. It came back. I'm not sure why it came back, but I thought it would be fun to do this and just talk about... So I do a lot of videos about SJWs. It's the most popular thing to do videos on right now. But you really do see that the SJW movement comes from people who just flat out don't like comics. So what happened is, for 2 years, we got costumes that were pretty similar to all these, and the sales went in the toilet because superheroes are flashy, they're bright colors, they're sexy or handsome or beautiful. Look at these miserable faces. It's like they got drafted into being a superhero. It's like they really want to be bloggers or something like that. Oh man, it just sucks to be a superhero. You can't be sexy. You can't have anything bigger than a small B cup, apparently, or it's harassing all women backward and forward through time. Anyway, sorry, I kind of rambled on this one. This one's just kind of just basic SJW stupidity. I don't have any really grand theories about it, but leave comments, subscribe, and I'll have another video up tomorrow. Thanks.